The Delegitimization of the White Male. Paul Craig Roberts. It is January 29th, 2019. We all know that the white male has been delegitimized. Woman studies, black studies, Latinos, identity politics have been demonizing and teaching hatred of white males since the 1980s. But where did these hate-filled special interest groups get their power? The answer is they got their power handed to them by white males. And Jews, by the way. It was white male university administrators who created the anti-white male propaganda degrees called Woman Studies and Black Studies. It is the white males in the Democratic Party who endorsed identity politics, an ideology that puts responsibility for all the evil in the world on white males. The latest white male collapse is that of the president of Notre Dame University. Catholics themselves, formerly a marginalized people in the United States and Great Britain, are guilty, according to Reverend John Jenkins, Notre Dame's president, of displaying in Notre Dame's main building a wall mural painted by Louis Gregory in 1880. In the identity politics that now rules even Catholic universities, the 1880 painting is viewed in the 21st century as depicting Native Americans in stereotypical submissive poses before white European explorers. There's the painting. I would bet that most Americans would not read the painting in this way. But in American, everything is determined by the few. Notre Dame's president has decided that the solution to this offense is for the university to cover the mural. That's bullshit. Apparently, only one intelligent person at Notre Dame University is a law student, Brent Stroll, who said, "If we adopt the standard of judging previous generations by current standards, we may reach a point where there is no longer accomplishments to celebrate." And this is a good point, but I would go further. Louis Gregory's painting was not intended to depict the submission of Native Americans to the white man. Here we have another case of real history being replaced by fake history with the president of Notre Dame University. Think about this for a moment. Is Louis Gregory's painting the only piece of art that can be construed or misconstrued as giving offense? What about, for example, the iconic photograph of the raising of the flag on the Hiroshima? Is that right? Iwo Jima? I think it is. Isn't this celebration of American triumph over Japanese insensitive and offensive to Japanese? How many military memorials are there that cannot be construed as giving offense to someone? How many paintings of martial and religious events are there that identity politics or some protected group cannot find offense? What happens to history and to literature when we have to pretend that things did not happen because they are offensive to someone? Are all the cowboy and Indian movies destined for the memory hole? How many songs can survive the scrutiny given to Baby It's Cold Outside? What about the Rolling Stones, Let's Spend the Night Together, or the Beatles, Why Don't We Do It in the Road? What about rapper songs? As blacks rank higher in the preferred minority category than white women, why isn't it racist for a white female to resist the sexual advances of a black male? And of course, it's becoming racist for white women to do this, according to people of color. Western civilization is under attack for giving offense, collapses everywhere. Not even America's most prestigious Catholic university can defend an historic mural. Will Jesus be next? I mean, after all, Jesus chased Jewish money changers out of the temple. You remember that, don't you? Where he flipped the tables and broke out the whip. Does that make him an anti-Semite or a self-hating Jew? The categories that are used today with so much authority make no sense. There's no such thing as white and black races. There are many different white nationalities and ethnicities. There are Germans, Italians, French, Scandinavians, Slavs, Dutch, Greeks, English, Irish, Scots, and so forth. Similarly for blacks, the Masia is not the Zulu, and the Tutsi is not the Hutu. There's no doubt that European nationalities have committed many atrocities, many against one another, as have black tribes. As recently as 1994, the Hutus killed 1 million Tutsis, 70% of the Tutsi population, in the Rwandan genocide. Just as it's not anti-American to criticize the United States, it's not anti-Semitic to criticize Israel or Jews, or sexist to criticize women, or racist to criticize blacks. Slavery is not a black or white issue. Over the course of history, more whites have been enslaved than blacks. As Carol Polanyi documented in his book, Dahomey and the Slave Trade, black slavery originated in the slave wars of the black kings of Dahomey. Europeans purchased slaves from the black kingdom of Dahomey. Identity politics has turned Western civilization against itself. Those claiming a victim status have acquired many privileges that violate equality under law. They are granted quotas in university admissions and appointments and in business employment and promotions. They can bring charges against those of European descent for insensitivity and racism by misconstruing language, expression, body language, facial expressions, artwork, and scientific theories as, you guessed it, racist. Females have acquired similar power over men. Black studies and women's studies rewrite history in order to present the white male as a more hateful figure. Feminist and radical minorities can make inflammatory statements calling for the death of white males without suffering any consequences. You remember the statement from Texas State University student Rudy Martinez. I covered this before. White is an abomination. I hate you because you shouldn't exist. White death will mean liberation for all. Wasn't that nice of them? By Lisa Anderson Levy, a dean at Beaufort College. Whiteness poses an existential threat to social, political, and economic life in the U.S., and by Georgetown University professor Christine Fair, who most certainly intended to offend the Senate Judiciary Committee and Kavanaugh. Look at this chorus of entitled white men justifying a serial rapist's arrogant entitlement. All of them deserve miserable deaths, while feminists laugh as they take their last gasps. Oh, bonus, we castrate their corpses and feed them to swine. Moreover, these statements demonstrate the privileged position of women and preferred minorities have achieved over white males. Any white male student, dean, or professor who made such a statement about blacks and women would be dismissed and made unemployable. Remember the senior engineer at Google who was fired for saying that men and women have different traits and are good at different things. Simply stating an obvious truth has become a firing offense. The United States was a unique country in which traditional European enemies became assimilated as Americans. But assimilation is no longer emphasized or even permitted. The celebration of diversity and multiculturalism has split the population into victimizers and victimized groups, with hatred of the former taught to the latter. In place of unity, disunity has been created. Our future is not promising. You remember I went over the 5 stages of genocide. Yeah, I had a Freudian slip, by the way. It's 8 stages of genocide, not 5. But the first of them is classification. All cultures have categories to distinguish people into us and them by ethnicity, race, religion, or nationality. Symbolization. We give names or other symbols to the classifications. We name people Jews or Gypsies or distinguish them by color or dress. Dehumanization. One group denies the humanity of the other group. Organization. Genocide is always organized, usually by the state. Polarization. Extremists drive the groups apart. Preparation. Victims are identified and separated out because of their ethnic or religious identity. Extermination begins and quickly becomes the mass killing legally called genocide. And number 8, denial, is the 8th stage that always follows a genocide. So, and we're experiencing the dehumanization, the symbolization, the classification, and of course they're becoming organized, right? So not too much longer and it's going to be accepted when masses of white males are exterminated. Which is why you need your guns. You need a shotgun, a rifle, a handgun, a knife, machete, and, of course, a compound or crossbow. You need them as soon as possible. Hope everyone has a great day. Kill the state before the state kills you.